This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine, and welcome to another edition of WCM's Park Update. My esteemed co-host Mike Gast is here, former Vice President of Communications at Campgrounds of America, which they're doing a lot of big things. I'm excited about their new corporate office, Mike. Which are you gonna get invited?
I've been working. Well, not yet. I've been working on them to name the training center or maybe the communication center after me. But I'm afraid they're going to make me die first.
I think they're going to maybe. And then our two guests today is Mike Harrison and Erin Forrest. And Mike is the well, I screwed up on the title there. So Mike Harrison, you're the Chief Operating Officer of CRR Lifestyle, and then Erin Forrest is the Corporate Director of Sales and Marketing. So welcome to the show. Sorry for the bad title entrance. So
No worries.
And I think people may recognize you guys, the company. I guess you changed the name like a year or two ago, right? So didn't it used to be like Contemporary Residences and Resorts, and you kind of shortened it?
We did. We were Contemporary Resorts and Residences. That's what we opened up in 2018.
Yeah.
And we were just going to do RV resorts and manufactured home neighborhoods. And then as we grew into other hospitality and operations businesses, we thought to adapt and evolve it. Plus, it's long to say. If you chipped up our titles, try saying Contemporary Resorts and Residences 3 times fast. LLC. So we thought CRR Lifestyle Company just fit, where we were headed a little bit better as we entered into RV storage and self-storage and car wash and hotels. So it was more encompassing.
Yeah, so you guys do a little bit of everything, which is pretty neat. And I know, so do you guys just have the 4 resorts right now, or are you guys working on any more resorts?
As far as the resort world goes, yes, we have the 4, and then we have 2 others under development as well.
Okay.
As we all know, development and supply chain has slowed that down a little bit. But currently looking, we have 3 other properties that we are currently identifying as other opportunities as well, but they're further behind. And then, of course, looking to acquire through third party.
And I believe there's 3 of them on the western side, and then you have the one that's in Georgia that's going to be opening here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it's actually technically it's South Carolina. It's about 10 minutes over the Georgia border, right near Savannah, Stones Throw. Savannah Lakes RV Resort, which is in Hardyville, South Carolina. Excuse me, right in between Hilton Head and Savannah, if you will. And that should open up in the second quarter.
So you're concentrating on the RV side of the camping business, and you're really not into the camping and accommodate or the cabins and accommodations part of it.
The cabins we are, the tenting not so much. So our resorts are definitely upscale luxury resorts that have either paved or compacted sites. But then we certainly we highlight and focus on the glamping aspect, especially since near all of us are from the hospitality industry. So either park models, cabins, luxury tents, covered wagons, that kind of thing is certainly prevalent in all of our resorts.
I love the second part of your name that you've got in your logo, a lifestyle company. I think that is very descriptive,
yeah.
And it kind of encapsulates what a lot of companies in the camping business anyway wish that they could evolve to. And it seems like you're starting that and making sure that that's front and center at all times.
Sure. I mean, Erin, if you want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Our vision at CRR is to be the preferred provider, evolving the industry for the modern world. So it's, a lifestyle and a brand that we are developing and, delivering to our guests and our customers.
How do you pick the spot you want to be at? I mean, you've got 4 now. With the Georgia park, it seems like it's getting farther farther afield from your core. What are you looking for when you look at expansions?
Yeah, great question, Mike. I think there's two components to that. One is from a development side, as one is from a management side, and they both fit the same pattern. I think, from an ownership side, we're certainly looking for high traffic areas. If you look at all of our properties, they're all along a major highway, if you will, the I-95, the I-10, the I-17. Accessibility is in our mission statement. So accessibility, because we want all campers to be able to stay with us, but also accessibility from a locational standpoint as well. And so we are focused certainly in the warmer full year climates, if you will. So the Southwest, California, Texas, and then obviously the Southeast area of Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. We wouldn't be opposed if somebody said, hey, we got this property right outside of Yellowstone, right? Of course, or some of the other major destinations. But, as we grow and scale, clearly we want to stay concentric and clustered, to areas that we can deliver the best service until we, scale to a more appropriate and regional size. If somebody came to us and said, hey, we got 4 properties up in Oregon, we'd absolutely look at it. So as we look specifically for ownership developments, we definitely like to focus on particular areas that have a need, that have some transient demand. If you're looking at the southwestern area, if you're looking at the southeastern area, clearly a little bit, if you build it, they will come in Florida. But certainly we like the transient side as well, along that little mid-Atlantic eastern seaboard area. So we take a look at the demographics. We'll look at the tourism statistics, and basically traffic count too, just to make sure that we understand where we're putting it, makes logistical sense. It's not as important, from a visual standpoint. I think it used to be important that you could see a campground. In today's digital age, it's not quite as important because you can obviously find them through many of the apps.
I thought your listing of your resorts was really interesting. You've got the Verde, which is so beautiful there at Verde Ranch, and then you with the one that's I presume is still set to open this summer at outside of Palm Springs, and then again that beautiful golf course setting you've got on the photos there, and then you get into the one at the other one in Arizona, and then the Savannah Lakes property. The photos you chose to illustrate those, especially the one at Savannah Lakes, obviously a new construction with the log rollers and the construction going on there. It looks like you're clearing some bare ground out there.
Yeah, we went into an area there. I think it's, we went through a lot of different discussions when we were naming the resort, because it's adjacent to the Savannah Wildlife Refuge. And right in the middle of the forest. So we were looking at various different names, and it's like a sanctuary. So we had started looking at sanctuary resort and some other kind of naming conventions. But we landed at Savannah Lakes because it does have a couple different lakes in the section there. But it is definitely cut out of the forest. So you can have access right from the highway, but you don't hear the highway. And as soon as you drive in, you really just feel like you're in the sanctuary, in nature. And the wildlife sanctuary is again 10-minute drive.
Certainly four different very different locations for very different experiences. What does the company bring in as far as consistencies to make sure that people know that they're at one of your places?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where the branding comes in. So as we build our websites, as we build our marketing profile, part of that is making sure that all the hallmarks of each individual property's brand are carried through. You can see there's consistency, for all of the logos that fit with that same CRR, brand identity and logo, whichever the resorts are. So that's number one. Number two is we want to tie the experience. Experiential hospitality is something that we're after. You mentioned a lifestyle company earlier, and so we want to provide them with something that is fulfilling, that hopefully they've achieved their dream. Hopefully they're, either relaxing or they're vacationing or they're living, somewhere that they feel special. whether it's the location, whether it's the amenity, or whether it's our people. So that will be, certainly consistent across the portfolio. Our activities, we have, great activities delivery. These are resorts, all inclusive, so to speak, that, we provide excellent and specialized local activities, again, to touch on that experiential hospitality. So that's unique to the area. In Red Ranch, we have the river that runs right along the property. So a lot of Easter egg hunts along the river. Or in Coachella, of course, we're building that putting course and we have lakes. So, drive-in movies right by the lake and the amphitheater, or putting, contest. So I think the marketing and the brand identity, it's no different than a hotel brand or KOA, I'm sure, near and dear to your heart. I use the example when I have these discussions with the team about DNA or vibe, right? And so if the DNA of your, I use a football team as an example. I'm a diehard Patriots fan, red, white, and blue in the uniforms. So if you put a Patriots helmet on and it had a yellow stripe, that doesn't fit with the DNA of their, team uniform and their team profile and their team makeup. And so our resorts are the same thing. If you put something that doesn't belong, right, it's disharmony. And so that's something that we continue to focus on from a consistency standpoint.
Yeah, and you guys just launched a third-party management service too, CRR Hospitality. I guess just explain a little bit why you guys decided to get into to do that, to get into the third-party management business.
Yeah, absolutely. We're thrilled to be entering this space. We come to this with decades of hospitality experience and operations, and a little bit newer, if you will, to the RV world, but still 5 years of experience. We've had great success. Verde Ranch was Park of the Year for the whole country with Arvik. So we think we've got a little bit of cachet with that, and we think we have something to offer to other owners other than ourselves. We want to share what we can do and help other owners see success and drive their marketing and reputation management and NOI. So with our hospitality slant, if you will, and our approach, we want to expand our portfolio and be able to bring other resorts and parks and storage and hotels into the fold, if you will.
So does that become a franchising agreement then?
There's potential for that. There's right now we're starting off just in third-party services. We will have certain criteria that we want our partners to meet, and then there may be an option for franchising down the road. That's down the road, so to speak. But in the front, we think they're auditioning us and we're auditioning them, right? We want the partnership to be great. We want our Good Sam ratings, to be 9.5, 10, 10. And so we hope the owners and partners, have those same goals as well.
Erin, I guess, when you're marketing these parks, who are you marketing them to? Are you seeing a lot of families? Are there, traveling workers? Is it a mixed bag, I guess?
It's definitely a mixed bag. All of our properties are family friendly, pet friendly, work friendly, that we like to market them. So especially after COVID, there are so many more families that are on the road. Many of them were pre-COVID, but then a lot of them, had a lifestyle change during the pandemic and are now out on the road, and there aren't as many properties for them as there are for the 55 plus generation. So we certainly see a lot of families, a lot of people working from the road, whether they are millennials or Gen X, working from the road. And then of course we have a lot of snowbirds because of our locations, being in Arizona, Southern California, and then in South Carolina.
So do you see like a fluctuation then, maybe like at this time of year it's snowbirds or whatever, and then like when you get more near summer it maybe is more families, I guess? Or
It's pretty much all year round. There's a different mix. Certainly our season is going to be our winter season because people are attracted
Yeah.
to the warmer temperatures and the sunshine. But then we have, a lot of people who are working in the area, whether they are full-time nurses or construction or project workers, that are all coming into these different areas that help us out year round as well.
Doesn't it get really warm and sunny in the summer? Like extremely hot, right?
So
It depends
Arizona
on
does
where you
get
are.
warm, but misconception of Arizona is that it's all hot. When you start to go into the northern part of Arizona, for example, I think they got about 20 inches of snow last night. And Camp Verde is kind of in this nice little valley between Phoenix and Flagstaff called Verde Valley. It's about 3,000 to 3,500 feet in elevation. And they've had a very wet winter this year. Arizona in general this year has been quite a bit colder than our normal, but it's not as hot in the summer as Phoenix, but doesn't get the feet of snow that Flagstaff does at 7,000 feet. And it's kind of right in the middle and a great spot to have as your home base to explore Arizona.
So Mike, is RV storage a part of the plan for each one of these locations? I know you've got a big facility at Verde Ranch, and you've got plans to open them up next year in Savannah Lakes and Buckeye, which is also out there.
So that's a great question. I think it's we are definitely hot in the RV storage market, and where it makes sense, we'll have them adjoining or adjacent or adjunct. That's a lot of A words to the resort. But there'll be some locations. We have a couple locations in Florida and Georgia that we're looking at that are standalones. A location up in the Northwest, that's a standalone. So we definitely see volumes of scale and synergy, where it can adjoin a resort. And yes, in those properties that you mentioned, we're absolutely looking at that. Coachella is another one. We have 2 separate storage facilities that we're looking at out there. Where we can find the right opportunities and the right need, we're addressing storage facilities in other places too.
I guess I'd ask the same question about the Verde Ranch Estates, where you've got the modular homes out there. Is that a plan for each one of those locations also?
I think that's an opportunity that we're going to take as each area presents itself. The last couple of years have been hot, right, for the housing market. This year, not so much. So, we want to kind of see what's going to happen with the market a little bit as we move forward in these various areas. But there's certainly a housing need that we've been looking at, in the northern Phoenix area, as Erin mentioned. There is a housing shortage. And so whether it's a manufactured home neighborhood or whether it's an RV resort, we want to look to see if we can supply that. Buckeye, we think, is a great example of where we have an opportunity to help with the housing, shortage with a lot of these full-time rigs. So Erin had, a lot of the marketing she was talking about is transient, based, and this will be more living based with a transient blend, if you will, for the workers out there, and the chip plant that's coming up, in the I-17. I think it's the nation's second or third largest chip plant in the whole country. So we'll, hopefully be able to provide that need in that area.
So how do the custom homes fit in with the RV crowd? Do they share the amenities at the facilities?
They are 2 separate properties. So each property in Camp Verde is on separate land. So the RV resort is separate from the RV storage, and then Verde Ranch Estates and Manufactured Housing Neighborhood is separate as well. They certainly have similar amenities, but each property has their own set.
But they do, to your point, Michael, they do, one begets the other, right? Like, we've had people who've lived at our resort buy homes in our neighborhood. People in our neighborhood store rigs in the storage, and people who are storing rigs stay at our resort. So they all kind of feed each other, if you will.
Okay.
And then on the side, it comes a car wash. Where'd that come from?
Well, there's a need for clean cars across the world, as everybody knows. So I think, we're conservative yet opportunistic investors, if you will. And the car wash industry is a great industry to get into. Before we got into it, we didn't know how great it was. It's fun. It's very profitable. It's still in the hospitality side. At the end of the day, you're providing, a product for a customer. And so, we're doing the same thing. We're managing a real estate asset investment through providing a service for profit. And so, we have several areas identified for car washes. And it is so much more fun than I had thought it was going to be before we got into it. But it's actually pretty, especially if you start to nerd out on the chemicals and cars per hour. And if you're a little bit of a data head, you can really go down the rabbit hole with the information.
So do you guys do any RV washes?
So we do an RV wash up in Camp Verde. We have a car wash in Camp Verde as well. It's not under the CRR management portfolio, if you will, but we as our partnership group do have an RV wash up there, and we are looking at potentially expanding that to the other car wash areas as the RV as well. And this is in Peoria, which isn't necessarily heavy RV world. It's much more of a urban retail destination. So it's more of that particular car wash is high transient car, touchless car wash, much more of a different customer. Camp Verde, absolutely a need for an RV wash. So it just kind of depends on the individual market.
All right, we have to take a break to just mention our sponsor, and we will be back in a few minutes. Thanks. WCM's Park Update is being brought to you by Woodall's Campground Magazine. For over 5 decades, Woodall's Campground Magazine has aimed to provide park owners and operators with the relevant industry news they need to run their businesses more efficiently. As times have changed, so has Woodall's Campground Magazine. Besides just its print publication, which is distributed to more than 14,000 industry professionals every month, the magazine also reaches readers through its various social media platforms, including Facebook at WoodallCM, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Woodall's Campground Magazine also offers a daily e-blast which highlights the top news from the industry. The best part, everything we do is advertiser supported and free to our readers. As the outdoor hospitality industry continues to grow at a rapid pace, it is important to stay up to date on trends and other relevant news. Subscribe to Woodall's Campground Magazine at woodallscm.com. Welcome back to WCM's Park Update, and we are talking with Mike Harrison and Erin Forrest from CRR, a lifestyle company, and just talking a little bit about the resorts. I guess, what's some of the challenges you guys face? I know we talk quite a bit about employee challenges and different things like that. Do you guys have issues finding team members for like Verde Ranch?
Of course not. We do like everybody else. I think we have a benefit, I think, above a lot of people. We certainly don't follow the typical work camper model, if you will. We pay a full wage and give a discounted site. We also believe, we think we're an employer of choice. So not only our benefits package, but also people want to stay with us. We have a beautiful facility, and they get a considerable site discount or comp, rent if they are managers or supervisors. So we're a very attractive place for employees to want to work in the RV world. So we get a very good applicant pool, in that sense. We have turnover and operational challenges like everybody else, but we're proud of our 94% engagement score that we had on our last associate survey. The culture, the things that CRR brings, is what we're proud of. But Park of the Year, I'll tell you, that is all associates. The number one scoring question on our survey is, I will go above and beyond in my job, for this company. And so we have, I would say probably at the resorts anyway, 60% of our associates, that's a rough guess, live at the resort. And so, you can't train the pride that they take in what they do. So they treat it like their home, right? They pick up weeds even when they're not working. They can't help themselves. And so we've got amazing people that work for us. We're very lucky and have been fortunate to have such a good team.
So how do you decide what campers are looking for? Are you heavy into research?
We definitely do a lot of research. A lot of it can be area based as well. Campers in Southern California are looking for something different than they are in Central Arizona. So as Mike said before, when we are looking at different potential opportunities, it's really looking at a lot of the data that comes out of those areas, whether it's working with their tourism offices and their chambers, traffic counts that go through the area. And then of course, each area is unique in what they provide as well.
So Erin,
And I think
everybody's been talking a lot in the last year or so about there's not enough inventory out there. There's not enough campgrounds. There's not enough RV resorts. How hard is it to market an RV resort right now? Are they waiting at the gates, or do you really have to go out there and drum up the business?
A combination of both. As Mike said, some of the places are, if you build it, they will come. But then other places, Camp Verde is not a well-known area in Arizona. Sedona is, and we're 40 minutes from Sedona. So we certainly use Sedona as a marketing tool. Our new property that just opened in middle of January in Ehrenberg, Arizona, River Sands RV Resort, is right along the Colorado River. And it's right on the border of Arizona and California. So, the big attraction there is the river and people coming there for the water activity and river recreation.
And I think also it really depends on the market. If we had a property right outside of Yellowstone, it's a lot easier to market than, as Erin mentioned, Camp Verde. So we look at the market, to your earlier point, in terms of research and occupancy, and we build our pro formas based off what the market trends and the comp set is. We use the KOA research report a lot for, regional tendencies. When we were deciding, do we want to run cable or not cable? What's important? Do we put a dog park or not a dog park? Do we want to have glamping options with a bathroom or not a bathroom? Those are all decisions. Those are wagons behind us. Those are all decisions that we make based on research. To make sure that we're putting the right things. Now, are we perfect? Of course not. Have we made mistakes? Absolutely. But I think we like to say you can break something so you can make it better. So we like to pivot based on what we find, and we think we do it better than most. That's kind of our motto is if we can do a little bit better than our competitor, then we'll be winning.
Yeah. The Verde Ranch also unveiled a customer service AI chatbot here recently, right?
Yeah.
How has that process been with this new technology, I guess?
It's been fun. I mean, AI is everywhere right now. My husband works in higher education and it's all the talk right now. So it's fun having, being the first in the industry with something like this. As Mike said, we'll break it and make it better. So it also really helps with our customer service. It helps with our call volume. So if someone just has a simple question, they can ask Campy and Campy can provide that answer to them, and it helps open up our reservation coordinators or front desk agents to assist other guests at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting technology.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody gotten frustrated with it at all at some point? Has it been able to answer people's questions pretty effectively?
It's been pretty effective. There's every once in a while you come across something that we need to tweak the answer to, or
yeah.
The AI is only as good as the information that you put into it. Okay. So the more it's used and the more answers that you provide, the better it is.
Yeah, we're educating it, right? I think that's the main thing. And as Erin mentioned earlier, our vision is to evolve the industry for the modern world. I think we'd like to say we're first to this table with the AI, and that means there's a couple hiccups, of course. And if you follow Simon Sinek and the law of diffusion of innovation, we're at the very front end. And so it's not going to be perfect, but hopefully it will evolve and adapt as we go. And we only have it rolled out to the one property for now as we're testing it to see how it goes. We're pretty happy with it. And as it evolves, we can plug it in, to many. We have rolled it out to our management company website as well. So we're testing it there. Folks can try it out. Like, what services does CRR offer? And so it's only as good as what it knows. You can look at it right now. It's in kindergarten. So right now it's coloring with the fat crayons and learning, and hopefully by next month maybe it's in seventh grade and gets its bar mitzvah. And then maybe in 2 or 3 months it graduates high school. And so as it gets more information and learns, it will be more effective and adapt. But it's certainly been fun to play with it on the front end.
Yeah, Mike, what's the 5-year plan for CRR? How fast can it grow?
Sure. I think, when we were creating our vision statement, and I don't mean to sound esoteric when I say all this, we thought hard about, what did we want people to say about us in 7 years, right? And, our goal was never to be the biggest. There are other companies out there that are a lot larger and have, growth targets and are publicly traded. That's not who we are. Our vision was to evolve the industry to the modern world. We want people to be talking about us. Hey, what's CRR doing? What are the things that makes them unique and special and different? And so our goal for 5 or 7 years from now, for sure, we'd like to grow. We want to grow appropriately. We're not just going to absorb or acquire properties for the sake of acquisition. We want to make sure that they meet, our criteria and we meet theirs, and that we're great partners and that we're aligned. So I think in 5 years from now, do we have a portfolio of, upscale RV resorts and maybe medium scale RV resorts? I think so. And RV park, could fall in there as well. Do we have RV storage and self-storage? Absolutely. Are there a few hotels sprinkled in there? Of course. So I think it's a bevy of hospitality assets that are collected, with different divisions. And we're seriously looking at, glamping only resorts as well. It's something that we've, got identified as a potential opportunity. That we have one right now that is identified, and we'll see how that goes. That's certainly our wheelhouse too. Glamping is so similar to the hospitality industry, and what we can do there, we think will be unique and special as well.
Yeah, definitely. I guess on the technology side, are you guys keeping an eye on the EVs and other types of technology too, besides the AI?
We are, electric vehicles. I think we have been taking a close and cautious approach to what the solution is. Especially the one in California, where I think it's probably going to happen the quickest, if you will. Clearly, we understand and know the goal of what all the automobile manufacturers are for their EV vehicles. But I think until, somebody who's planning their trip from Texas to Oregon, understands where they can stop for power along the way, then it's truly not going to be, fully immersed, if you will. And so I think we're probably 2 or 3 or 4 years away, probably closer to the 4-year mark, where this is something where it's prevalent, where RV resorts have chargers. And so we have been looking at, the tier 2 chargers, if you will, at some of our properties, but we want the industry to evolve a bit more, have some more standardization, before we dive full on. So yeah, we're absolutely in it and monitoring it, but it's almost like when Wi-Fi came to the hotel business, 20 years ago. What do you want to do here? What's going to happen? And there needed to be more infrastructure that was built, if you will, before you could enact some of those solutions. So I think this is a similar type situation. As far as technology, I think what's pretty cool is as more resources come into the RV camping glamping industry, there's more sophistication, if you will. AI is a great example. Revenue management is a great example. Reputation management, is a great example. Property management, and all the different systems, EMS, energy management, not emergency services, is what I mean. There continues to be tools that you can leverage, for the efficiency and improvement of your business. And so a lot of those things we are implementing at CRR. to make sure that we have infrastructure set up for not just our own ownership group, but the management services portfolio as well. To give owners access to information, remotely, because it's hard if you're in a different state from your property to understand what's going on unless you have good access to information.
Yeah, well, all good stuff. I think we're near the end of the show, though. Thanks, Mike and Erin, for coming on. I love your background, Mike. It's a great background. So
Thank you.
I like the wagons.
You're welcome. You're welcome to come stay anytime you want and see that it's not 120 degrees in Camberta. We'd love to prove it to you.
I like the hot weather, so I wanted 120. My wife probably not. So
you can enjoy that in Palm Springs if you'd like. We'd be happy to show you 105 degrees in Palm Springs.
But it was great chatting with you. Thanks for coming on the show and letting us barrage you with questions. And thanks for giving us an update on the company. And thanks everyone for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks everyone. Take care.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com. Show hosts are Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. Executive producers Rick Kessler and Alex Burkett. Copyright 2022, G&G Media Group.